What's going on, Jerome's? So it's the day after the Super Bowl, and Vikings news dump a little bit light today, and mainly because we're going to get more in depth on the reports of Kirk Cousins and Sam freaking Darnold, and also Danielle Hunter. But yeah, Super Bowl. Everyone have a good time. Now, I feel like whichever president makes the move of moving President's Day to the day after the Super Bowl, I feel like that would garner them a lot of points. All right, it's because President's Day is Washington's birthday, but it's observed on a random Monday in January. Just like slide that B down a couple weeks. I think it would work out. Now, no, I don't think moving it to Super Saturday is the best idea, but Super Bowl Sunday and then a holiday, or just create a national holiday. Who cares? I don't know how that works, man. But the Chiefs dynasty in the making, won 3 Super Bowls, back-to-back, first back-to-back team since the Patriots 03-04. And, with Mahomes, you're always going to have a chance to three-peat. And also, he's only 28. He's the age of Hendon Hooker and Jaron Hall. Not really, but you know what I mean. Also, props to our guy, Eli Corbett, moving on up to the east side. Finally got a piece of the pie. He did awesome work here with this graphic from NFL.com. So props to the Chiefs. But what's great is the Cousins curse is real. So I used to think that this was just like an urban legend, but it's actually legit. So no team that has lost to Kirk Cousins has won the Super Bowl the same year. Isn't that amazing? That's astounding. Now, is that just randomness? Sure. And also, the Niners, if they were to just ran it down with McCaffrey as opposed to just trying to let Brock Purdy try and win and seal the game, maybe the curse would be broken, but it isn't. And also, it could have been a complete stone free roll if the Vikings would have got it done against the Chiefs, except L'Jarius Sneed decided to take his helmet off and also hold Jordan Addison. But for that, I digress. Now, is it actually telling that a team that can't beat Kirk Cousins isn't good enough to win it all? No, that's nonsense. Because several teams that have lost to Kirk Cousins have made the Super Bowl. They just didn't get it done. Just like this Niners team. Frankly, I think San Francisco, top to bottom, if you take out Mahomes, is a better team. And they were the better team throughout the game, but a couple of random things did not go the way. First off, like the punt bouncing off of the return guy's ankle, and then Jake Moody having his first career PAT blocked. It was just weird, man. It was just a weird game overall. But yeah, Cousins' curse remains unbroken. Also, during Super Bowl week and Super Bowl festivities, especially in Vegas. So first off, Vegas needs to be in the rotation, the Super Bowl rotation. It needs to be L.A., it needs to be New Orleans, and it needs to be Miami and Las Vegas. Those need to be the 4 pillars of the season. Now, what's great about Vegas is that everything, well, there's lots of things to do outside of the Strip, but everything basically can be done on the Strip. Now, it was very congested from all reports, and also traffic was abysmal, but this is where people want to be seen, and JJ, KJ Osborne were out there, and also there was a great LSU photo of Jamar Chase, Justin freaking Jefferson, and Jaden Daniels together. Now, of course, we cropped this out, the 2 important guys. Now, Jaden Daniels, 6'4" RG3, and I don't mean that as a negative. I do think that he has a chance to change the game a little bit, where he's got a big time arm. He's got elite mobility and elusiveness, and it would be so much fun. It would be so much absolute fun to just go full Skull SU, put up video game numbers inside historic U.S. Bank Stadium, and go from there, man. And also, obviously, a fellow LSU alum would be okay for Justin friggin' Jefferson. I think this one would work out. Also, yeah, we know that Jaden Daniels looks good in purple and gold. Come on, man. Come on. Before the big game, Brandon Powell, who won a Super Bowl with the Rams back in the day, putting on a little bit of flexing, having a beverage, watching the Super Bowl. Bill Cowher with an unfortunate-looking mustache historically, but Brandon Powell put this out on the gram. Shout out to the boys in the bowl ring emoji, and that is a huge-ass Super Bowl ring, man. I mean, I feel like Super Bowl rings used to be like class rings. People used to get class rings. It's kind of weird. But like the early days, the Super Bowl rings were just like this, but now they're just like gaudy. Like now I feel like they've gotten to the point where they're so big and valuable. Like I would feel a little bit uneasy wearing them out in public because I mean that's probably what 50 dimes easily. Now, if you got your Super Bowl ring stolen or robbed from you at gunpoint, I think that it would be hard for them to defense it, since every ring has like the player's name and stuff inscribed up. But just all of the diamonds and the platinum just for raw material, selling that thing off. I mean, it's a couple, 5 figures somewhere in there. But anyways, like Super Bowl, I would love to have that problem. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, I will buy a replica Super Bowl ring. And maybe I'll just wear it because I'll be like a jabroni. It's like, yeah, I was in the marketing department. Or I was on the practice squad, man. It's great. It's great. Also, so a big part of the Super Bowl win for the Chiefs, and beyond Mahomes, obviously, was that defense, man. I mean, the defense shutting down the Dolphins and the Bills and the Ravens and the freaking 49ers, which is amazing. Alec Lewis, the Athletic Vikings beat writer. Props to Chiefs GM Brett Veach and KC for what they've done defensively through the draft. It's so important. So McDuffie, Snead, Reed, Bolton, Gay, Karlaftis, Chenal, Watson, Dana, etc. So, I mean, those guys have been a bit of a scattershot. Jumping George Karlaftis was the first-round pick, Bolton, second-rounder, McDuffie, second-rounder, etc. But the Chiefs have been very good at just stacking up that defense. Well, yes, you paid premium dollars for Patrick Mahomes. His 10-year, $500 million deal, and yeah, you've spent up in free agency at some receiver spots. I mean, MVS, sure, why not? And yeah, you spent a draft pick on Rashee Rice. You spent big time money on Chris Jones. Chris Jones, but I mean, overall, like they've done the damn thing building defensively, and that's something that the Vikings have to start getting right because. I mean, looking back at the last 2 drafts, and yes, it's only been 2 drafts for Kwesi, but haven't seen much in terms of high-end contributors on defense. So, Seen is in the mix. Booth is in the mix too. Asamoah can't stay healthy. Evans has started but been benched several times. And then this year, I mean, Mekhi Blackmon, I think, is going to pan out and be really solid going forward. But, carry on my Jayward son, Jaquelin Roy didn't get the time of day. So, I mean, you're not even getting contributors. Like, you're not even getting rotational guys, which is something the Vikings have to get a lot better at. And also, if you have those influx of talent, and if you hit on guys day 2, day 3, providing solid talent at a cheap number, with Brian Flores over the next couple of years, and because I think the Flores may be here as DC for the Vikings for the next couple of seasons, you can absolutely build an elite defense on that side of the rock. And go from there, man. Also, hey, at least one Viking won a Super Bowl. So Jerick McKinnon getting his second Super Bowl ring. He's fat. Is it 2 or 3? Hold on. We can do this on the fly. Zoom in and enhance. And see, I love Jerick McKinnon coming out of Georgia Southern. He was an absolute physical freak. He was a rock star, man. So he has won. So he's won 2 Super Bowls. He wasn't part of the first one, but. As a scat back, a change of pace back, a receiving back, he's fantastic. And he's going to be 32 in May, probably reaching towards the end of the road for running backs. But, I mean, I love me some Jerick McKinnon. And I was legitimately upset when the Vikings did let him go after the 2017 season. He spent 3 years with the Niners, ironically, and then has been with the Chiefs since 2021. But, I mean... He was special, man. Just like an absolute rock star physical freak, man. He was a triple option quarterback in college. I mean, what could have been? So speaking of paying up, so what's hilarious? So Marquez Valdes-Scantling, MVS. Like we as Vikings fans know him from his Green Bay days, and he was nothing to write home about. But then he got paid stupid, ridiculous money by the Chiefs. But he got me some stupid, ridiculous money too. So. MVS was plus 800 as an anytime touchdown scorer. So first off, the Chiefs receivers of Mecole Hardman catching the game-winning touchdown and also MVS catching a touchdown, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. But when the Chiefs are driving and then Mahomes tosses that one up in the top top right corner of the end zone, and all of a sudden it's number 11 coming down. Woo, woo. Bring me my money. It's good times, man. Also good times is, so Super Bowl is kind of tough because a lot of guys are making the rounds on Radio Row, promoting stuff and building their brands and going out to some parties. It's great. Networking is extremely valuable, but I mean it's got to hurt too. I mean some of these guys that's where they want to be, the Super Bowl, not as a chip and dip spokesperson, not as someone who's on Radio Row just answering the same inane questions over and over again, but playing in the Super Bowl. And Christian Darrisaw's putting in that work, man. So Super Bowl Sunday, he's at his church. He is at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill, putting in that work. And I believe in Darrisaw. I think that he can be one of the best left tackles in the game, if not the best. But we got to see more consistency. We got to see him stay healthy. And I would be fine if the Vikings sort of balked at paying him big-time money this offseason. And let's see what he can do in year 4. Fifth-year option for sure, but let's see what happens this year. And lastly, so Hayden Winks is over at Fantasy Underground. He put up a mock draft based on Radio Row reports and vibes. So that's the thing too. So a lot of people talk. There's always chatter this time of year, whether it's scouts, whether it's coaches, whether it's whatever. Now, you got to take everything with a grain of salt because a lot of times people just don't tell you the truth out of the kindness of their heart. Like generally there's strings attached to it. Like they want that information out there. And mock drafts are what you hear, and power rankings are what you see versus player rankings for the draft. But so this is what Hayden heard during Radio Row week. Williams at 1, May at 2, Harrison at 3, so they pass on Jaden Daniels. Malik Neighbors at 4, since Harrison Jr. is off the board. Jaden Daniels falls to the Falcons at 5, who trade down with the San Diego Superchargers. So they do some business there. Then San Diego drops down to 8, but then they trade down again because the Vikings come up from 11, and the Vikings trade up to go get J.J. McCarthy Dynamite. So they head off other teams, potentially the Broncos and the Raiders for making a move up for McCarthy. And I think that McCarthy has the tools. No, he's not Christian Ponder too. But people who call J.J. McCarthy Christian Ponder, I feel like that's just a generalized blanket statement for quarterbacks who might bust. But McCarthy is a completely different athlete. He's got a completely different high-end arm than Christian Ponder. His deep ball accuracy is fantastic. He was just in a spot where it was a run-first offense, and Michigan was literally blowing out teams every single week. All right, so there wasn't time for him to put in all those empty calorie stats that you see from some of the other college quarterbacks. But in terms of traits, I think that he can scale up and be the guy. Frankly, I think he's probably the betting favorite right now to be a top half of the first-round pick, as well as at least quarterback 4, maybe even higher, depending on how teams see Jaden Daniels. But I think that he has a chance to be a special player in this league. But also, I think it's a spot where if the Vikings move from 11 to 8, I'm fine with it as long as they don't give up this year's second-round pick, because the Vikings don't have a third-rounder because of the Hawkinson trade. So, because if they did, I mean, picking 8 and then waiting all the way to the 4th round, that's a long day too with no selections. Nah. But go get your guy if Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell are sold that he is the dude, so go get him. Just do that up, man. But that's it. That is Vikings news dump on this beautiful Monday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, production value.